Thanks for staying with us. Now, NGOs say the fight to end tuberculosis needs collaboration between government and civil society. In Gauteng, World Tuberculosis Day is being observed in the West Rand in Sedibeng at Evaton, where civil organization and health department projects have set up. This is to screen and spread awareness. SABC News reporter Hasina Gori is covering the event for us.
Tuberculosis has been identified as the second deadliest virus globally, claiming the lives of 1.3 million people since 2002. The numbers are shared in Africa, holding a large portion, and South Africa is in the top 20 global hotspot countries. Today is World Tuberculosis Day, and we're here in the West Rand in Sedibeng in Evaton, which has been identified as one of the areas in Gauteng with a high number of tuberculosis. Yesterday we spent the day at a symposium in the build-up to today, looking at some of the challenges that this disease faces, but also some of the wins that government has been making in strides to win the fight against tuberculosis. While tuberculosis is a curable disease, one of the huge concerns is that many people do not identify, do not test, but also do not adhere to the regimen programs. I want to bring in one of the doctors that are here as part of the SABC Development Partners. Dr. Ashley, thank you for speaking to us. Can you just talk us through your process and what your contribution is here today in the regimens around the treatment of tuberculosis?
Hi, so as mentioned, I'm from SABC Development Partners, and we're funded by the Global Fund in order to assist in supporting and treating and finding the missing TB cases. So we're here today, just a small part of our company is here to screen our patients. Once they've been screened, they go through to our X-ray machine, where they will have an X-ray done by a radiographer, which is actually interpreted by artificial technology. That gives a report and a score, and that is indicative of how if the patient has TB or the likelihood of having TB or not having TB. We're also here collecting sputums for gene expert testing, of which they'll be referred and appropriately started. And of course, health education. That's the main reason why we're here, to create awareness about TB, so people know the symptoms, that people are aware of the symptoms, and to know that this is a curable disease.
How important is that, that we have that education around tuberculosis, but also the testing of it in our treatment as a whole?
So if we look at the numbers of people that are affected by TB, it's one of the main causes of death in our country. It's approximately like 468 per 100,000. So we know that that is very significant. And 60% of those patients are actually suffering from HIV as well. So it's so important to get out into the community and make them aware of the symptoms and aware of the testing opportunities that are available. And most of these are free, as well as the treatments. So it's very, very important for us to get down to the community level and create this awareness around TB, which is so great that we're all here today. Actually.
And you mentioned technology, and I want to talk into that. How important is leaning into these artificial intelligence, to all these new developments in treating not just tuberculosis, but also HIV as well?
Well, as you know, we're approaching the fourth industrial revolution. There's these new dynamic testing systems and treatment systems that are available. And in order for us to actually stand and fight this disease together, we are going to have to lean into those. We're going to have to embrace them fully and take on this technology in order to help us diagnose and treat. And it's helping us to be more effective, more efficient, and overall, actually getting to those TB cases. So it's very important for us as a country to lean into these technologies and embrace them so they can make us stronger against the fight against TB.
And yesterday we spoke with the Department of Health, and they were celebrating one of their wins, which was a shorter regimen of treating TB, but also curing some of these cases. But what is the reality? You working in community levels. What is the reality of the lived experience of those people?
So, SABC, we work mainly at a community level as well as in the facilities. And we've made great wins, as the department is correct. We've got a BPAL regimen that is now 6 months, which treats TB, as well as a 3HP regimen, which is for TB prophylaxis. So great wins have been made. But our people are still struggling, especially our communities at the ground level. People are struggling with resources, with transport, and of course our vulnerable homeless communities and drug-using communities. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but we're making strides in going in the right direction. So events like this, where NGOs are partnering with departments of health, are so important, because I don't think any one of those two divisions by themselves can actually make a proper impact. But when we're standing together and offering services together, that's when we're going to make our great strides. But yes, we are making good strides, but there's always room for improvement.
Before I let you go, I just want to go to the last part, bringing on what you've just said. what more can be done? What should we be working towards and looking towards when it comes to the fight against tuberculosis?
So what we need to do as a country is we need to stand together and work against breaking down the stigma against TB. There's still a great stigma that exists with TB and HIV. So that becomes, we'll only overcome that through health education, creating health awareness, and embracing that this is a curable disease. That this can be cured, so there's no reason to be afraid to go and get tested. There's no reason to be afraid to say to your colleagues and to your families, I'm having these symptoms, I need to go get tested. Or I've been diagnosed. As a contact, can you also go and get diagnosed? We need to work together as a country to break down the stigma, to increase testing so we can diagnose and treat overall.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashley. Speaking to us here at the World Tuberculosis Day celebration happening in Sedibeng in the West Rand today, speaking to us on the diagnostic that they're doing. They're doing free testing using AI, which is the new technology, artificial intelligence, to identify and read those reports that come through from the x-rays that take place. One of the key components of the treatment and prevention of tuberculosis is early prevention and testing by people, breaking down of the stigmas. Speaking of the need for communities, NGOs to work together with government and the Department of Health, all coming together to work for one specific goal. We're here today, as I said, in the West Rand, at the celebration of the World Tuberculosis Day, which is not done here in South Africa alone, but also globally. And what we will expect to happen throughout the day is hear from the Department of Health. The Minister is expected to address us, as well as various different counterparts of his at the provincial level, as well as other NGOs and interested stakeholders. It is going to be a full day looking at tuberculosis, looking at its prevention, looking at the challenges, but also the wins that South Africa has made in this fight against tuberculosis.
Hasina Gori is our reporter on that story.